The Aston Martin is finally home. I drove it into that spot. I didn't just drive it in the spot, I backed it into the spot, if that tells you anything. It works, it is finished, it's complete, and it's horrendous. It's a terrible car. I don't know why people like these things. I'm gonna explain to you why. I really wanted to like this thing, but I don't, and I'm going to be getting rid of it. But a lot of people have been asking about more cars than just the Aston Martin. They've been asking, what's up with the Ferrari 612? What's up with the Lambo? A lot of you guys saw a car I got over there in the distance in my friend Alex's video and been writing me incessantly trying to buy it. And the truth is, well, everything is generally for sale when I own it, except for a select few. But I'm going to give you a price on every single car today of what I would sell them for. And what's sitting on the farm is just about half the inventory of cars I have. There's stuff that's always for sale. So I'm going to kind of run you through all that, of course, with a huge update on the Aston Martin. But let's start things off on the car we most recently finished, the BMW X6M, because it is working excellent after cleaning up all the water intrusion in the floorboards. I've driven it about a full tank of gas, which is right around like 400 to 500 miles. It does everything amazing. It's just as fast to 60 as every single one of these exotic cars here. If I were to sell this car, I probably wouldn't move it for anything less than about $17,500. There's only one thing I don't like about it, and that is its fuel economy. It's terrible. It's like between 11 and 12 miles per gallon in the city, and at almost $4 a gallon for premium, it's just hard to justify driving around. But then again, if you look at the other cars, they don't get very good gas mileage anyway. And I'm not trying to spark the great gas debate, but it's so funny when I see my friends posting these pictures of $7 a gallon premium in California. A bunch of people jump in the comments and are like, well, it's definitely not this guy's fault. And everybody's like, it definitely is this guy's fault. Anyway, I did something to combat the high fuel prices and the poor fuel economy on all my cars, Sage, and I've been talking about getting a Model 3 forever, and guess what I just went and picked up?
Did you get a new Model 3?
No, I didn't get a Model 3. You know, it's a little much money for me to spend 40 grand on a new car. So I saved about 40 grand and bought something for much less. It's not really a car, but let's go and head over to the warehouse. A few weeks back when we put it all together, this thing's actually really cool. So I just got this box delivered freight all the way from Hong Kong, and supposedly it has the fastest, and I would use the word cheapest, but we'll be proper and say the most cost-effective motorcycle. This is what they call it. I think it's more like a moped. It goes like 50 miles an hour. Let's open it up and see what we got. Oh, check this out. Look, it even comes with like a motorcycle pouch from Harley Davidson. That's awesome. Oh, check it out. Look, it's got a helmet. I was worried about bringing a helmet. My ATV helmet hasn't been worn for like ages. Look, okay, cool. We got a helmet. Oh, that's nice. Do I look like Harry or Lloyd wearing this helmet?
I'm definitely seeing Lloyd right
Lloyd, yeah?
Yeah.
Just need the like tooth chip, you know? Dude, no way. This is way cooler than the motorcycle in that movie. Look at this thing. It's big, man. Oh man, this is awesome. So yeah, this is like an all-electric Vespa. Look at how nice it is. Look at this. I wonder where you plug it in to charge it. So I guess we obviously have to put the tire on, and we have to put the handlebars on. I think that's it. I think everything else in those boxes were just like accessories. So. Oh, like here's our digital gauge cluster. This is really looking nice. Like, don't you think it looks good?
It looks real good.
I like how like big it is. Like that's one of the things when you're ordering this online and you see the specs and you're like, yeah, but like how big is it? You just don't know the size. This is legit like the size of like a regular motorcycle, just in the format of like a moped with a seat on it. So you can see I'm using all the appropriate tools for this, but I did notice in the box just now that there was a couple Allen keys and wrenches, so you really need minimal tools to assemble this thing. It's really simple. Look at that. See you?
Yeah.
Cool.
Looks good.
Comment down below, would you go on a date with Sage?
The only correct answer is yes.
You know, we got a lot of like satisfying actions in, you know, assembling this thing. What's not satisfying is the rain gutter dripping in the background. Do you hear that?
Yeah, that's no fun.
All right, so you just take this orange cable, run it to the back, and oh, that's the battery back there. Look, the battery just comes out. You see, you probably lift the seat up and then it comes up and out. You see the handle on it?
Oh, yeah.
So, you know what it is? They offer different battery options. So, if like you live in Europe, you know, a street legal model might have a smaller battery, but if you want to upgrade to make it go faster, you probably just pull this out. I mean, you see it's got a handle on it, and then that's pretty neat. So we're all plugged in, and let's see if it fires up. Well, we need the keys. We need the keys. You know what's nice about this, I noticed? Every used car I'm buying at the auction has one key, if I'm lucky. Sometimes you gotta go find a key. Look at how many keys they give you. And it's got, look at this. Unlock. Oh, check that out. Look at that. You can lock it and unlock it. So I'm just wondering there's multiple keys for multiple things. Let's figure this out. Look, there it goes. Cool. All right, hold on. Turn signal working? Turn signal, look at that.
There we go.
Yeah, other one?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, how do I ride this thing without, you know, killing myself?
You just go for it.
No, you don't just go for it, Sage. You got to put the helmet on first. You also want to test the brakes too, because I assembled that.
Yeah, it's probably
You know?
not a bad idea. I think we need to get it out of this little box back here.
Oh, that might be a problem.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's got a couple different modes. See, it says like 2, which I'm assuming is kind of like a safety thing. You know, you don't want to start out in the highest mode and go 50 miles an hour right off the bat. So let's see. So this has 3 drive modes. When you start it up, it seems to always default to setting 2. And basically, when you go to the top drive mode, it gives you all the torque. It gives you the top speed of 48 miles an hour. When you start things out, you're gonna wanna start in 1 just to get a feel for things. Now, it's been a long time since I've ridden a motorcycle, but it was very simple to get used to this. With just about 4 or 5 minutes of driving, I felt very comfortable. Now, in its highest drive mode, it gets to 35 miles an hour very quickly and has a claimed 48 mile per hour top speed and 70 miles per range. I've gotten over 40 miles an hour a couple times. To really get that top speed, you need a really well-charged battery. While you're driving it, again, it's just really smooth because it's all electric and it feels stable. It doesn't feel flimsy or cheap. This is not like a mini bike you're driving around. This is a full-size, pretty large moped. And one thing that I was initially concerned about is the suspension, because sometimes the suspensions on these Chinese motorcycles can be cheap. This one feels pretty plush, and a lot of that also has to do with the seat. It's really comfortable and it's really large. They actually mentioned on their site that it's large enough for 2 riders. It has disc brakes, and when you're going 40 miles an hour, you definitely want these, and they seem to work pretty good. And one of the things I really liked is this kickstand failsafe. So I had the kickstand out, and I was trying to start the bike up, and well, it wasn't moving, and the whole entire time I thought it was broken, like right out of the box. No, it's because the kickstand was out. So that's really cool, and as you saw, it comes with a bunch of different accessories. One of the cool ones is the cell phone holder here, and that plug that you saw me plug in earlier with that, well, it actually is grabbing power off the motorcycle, and there's a plug on this mount itself that you can plug directly into your cell phone, and it will charge your phone as you ride. So again, just really nice modern tech here. Everything is here, so if you want to go and register this and drive it on the streets, you can do so out of the box. Charging the battery is like plugging in your laptop. You can literally leave it in the motorcycle, or if you like live in an apartment and want to take it with you, you can go and just unlock the seat, lift it up, and then the battery pulls right up and out. It's not even latched in anywhere. It just sits snugly in its little compartment. Now, the main thing that attracted me to this was its price. When I bought it a couple months ago, it was $3,800 shipped. I just went back on their site. It's even cheaper now. It's like $3,300 or $3,400 shipped. This is a Kapala Moto Gator, and if you consider that price compared to what you're gonna find used on like Marketplace, it's gonna be tough to find something that's in brand new condition with all the accessories down to the tools you need to install it. 70 miles of range, 48 mile an hour top speed. There's a lot of other electric motorcycles out there in the same price range, but none of them with these specs, at least not that I found. The closest thing I could compare this to would be like a Honda Grom, but the biggest difference being that a Grom is gasoline, so it's gonna be kind of noisy while you're driving it at speeds, whereas this is pretty much silent because it's electric. And the Grom is about $3,000 retail. They end up selling for a bit more when you go to the dealer and buy one. So again, I think this is a tremendous value, especially now that the prices come down on them. And I've been having a ton of fun just taking it around town. I'll drop a link to the Kapala Moto website down in the description box in case you guys want to check them out for yourself. So the electric moped is going to take care of my poor fuel economy woes on the X6M. Also on the Ferrari 612 Scaglietti. This is a car that probably gets just as bad a fuel economy. But experiencing how terrible of a car that V8 Vantage is, I kind of like this car a bit more as a GT car. So last time we checked in, we did get one of the major issues fixed on it. The gearbox actuator was leaking transmission fluid, and I tried fixing it by removing the actuator. I followed the Ferrari manual to a T. The problem is the manual tells you how to do it with the gearbox removed from the car. So when I removed the actuator, it hit the frame of the car. I couldn't pull the actuator off. And well, this is one of those jobs that is much better off done on a lift. I took it to Tony at European Exotic Center, and close to $1,000 later, the car is no longer leaking gearbox fluid, which is good. This car, to be really sorted, needs a clutch job and it needs a belt service. Belt service parts are probably about $1,000. Clutch job parts are probably, depending on how you do it, anywhere from $1,500 to $4,000. And they're fairly involved jobs, but this is a car that I picked up way too cheap. If you watch the video, you know how much. And I wouldn't let it go for any less than, right now, $75,000. I've seen a lot of these come to market lately. These cars are kind of in, not this one in particular, but V12 Ferraris, and they're all 99.9. This has a lot more miles, and well, I put the price probably a bit higher than it should be, just from a standpoint that I don't really want to sell it. Now, coming to the Lamborghini, a car I will not sell. Just too much time, too much work, too much of a story, too much of my life is in this car. I will not sell it, but of course, like I said, I'll give a price for every single car. What I would sell it for, it'd be a lot more than it's probably worth, but just look at the paint job. It's so great. It's just like a very dramatic thing when you drive it. Everybody looks at you and you park it far out in the parking lots, and when I'm in the store, all I could think about is what's going on with my car. I love this thing. But if I realistically were to sell it, the price I think would be fair, and that I would get rid of it for would be somewhere around $120,000 to $125,000. Again, I couldn't replicate what we put into this car for that sort of money, but that's what it would be, and nobody would buy it for that price. So don't write me about it. I will not sell it to you. This car, though, we're definitely getting rid of. The Aston Martin V8 Vantage. That's not because the car is still broken. It works. It's all put back together. It looks really good. Sage did a good job cleaning up. Thank you, Sage.
Yes, sir.
And it's not a good car. This, I don't know how to explain it. It's got the engine out of a Land Rover. It's all the stuff that I talked about before in the videos. Engine out of a Land Rover, parts off of a Mustang. And it really goes to show you when you kind of throw a bunch of stuff together and put it in a really good looking body, because I think that's the best attribute of this car, is how good it looks. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. And it's probably because I'm spoiled with cars like the Lamborghini, cars like the Ferrari 360. This one is not. I could keep telling you why I don't like it. You want to see the real reason why this thing doesn't do it for me? Let's get it, and then let's take it down the street, and you'll understand within 30 seconds why this car is just horrible.
Here's a quick recap on the Aston Martin. After fixing my rear main seal mess up, Shane and I went and reassembled the car, and when we did, we installed brand new OEM shifter cables. After having everything back together, the stick shift itself was off center in the car, and it had no reverse gear. No matter how hard we tried to adjust this, it was all out of whack. Now, Shane had already started disassembling the shift mechanism on the car when luckily a great guy by the name of Flyer Tim commented on my last video that he had this exact same issue, and that the new superseded cables being sold by Aston Martin, which I might add cost over $500, are too long, which essentially makes adjusting the shifter impossible and eliminates your reverse. A huge thanks to him, as we would still be chasing a ghost trying to figure out exactly what was wrong here. Here's a look at the new cable on the left and the old cable on the right, and you could see it's just slightly longer, but that's enough of a difference to just mess everything up.
Car wasn't going into reverse. I'm pretty sure Sam showed you guys that we rebuilt the shifter, as well as that the shifter cables themselves were too long. What we did was we took the old shifter bushings, threw them out, took the new shifter bushings off of the new cables, and then put the old cables back in on the car. Once we got that swapped out, it put everything back in the center, and then as well as realigning the actual shifter mechanism on the transmission, because what we're pretty sure happened was because the cables were too long, it overextended the actual shifter mechanism, or the shifter, like that lever inside the shifter, and then it put the detent for the reverse setup out of place. So once we put it back together, you'll see here,
All right, so, you know, everything in here looks pretty good. Everything is all put back together. Nice shape. Go put the key in. Thing lights up. Hit the button. Not the best cold start sound in the world, but not terrible. Here, I'll give it a few revs. I got a camera behind us, so I'll put it in first. It likes to tell me that this brake is on quite a bit. Let's see, there we go. Oh, it's really finicky, this system. There it goes. All right, we'll go forward a little bit. You can see car is moving. But just to show you how good this darn reverse works, we'll go over it in reverse. Watch this. So that's solid. That's probably the best part about this car. But let me show you the part that makes it not so good. Clutch engagement is nice and smooth, feels new. And it's right about 2,000 RPM that this car becomes unusable. Now, I'm going literally 30 miles an hour. Do you hear the noise that it's making? And my neighbor is sitting here staring at me, I swear to you. He thinks I'm a lunatic. Like literally, he just gave me the wag of a finger. And it's not my choice that this car sounds like this. But it's awful. It's awful. You can't drive it unless you keep it under 2,000 RPMs. Look, that neighbor was seriously mad just now. He probably thought I was going like 80 miles an hour because that's what it sounds like. But I didn't even give you more than like 2,800, 3,000 RPMs just now. That's how ridiculous this car is. And it's basically undrivable in public. Here, I've got a little stretch of the driveway. I can actually wind it out a little higher so you can see how stupid it is. Like a rally car, like it's just awful. So what do you think?
It's not bad.
You like it?
It's all right.
See, I guess for the younger audience, here's Sage. For the younger audience, I'll say, you always got to give them that, like, for the guys that do this out there.
It's not the worst thing.
It's horrendous. I don't know about you, but I think that sounds really bad. But I always like to look on the positive side of things, and I'd rather tell you about something that sounds really good, like these Raycon Everyday Earbuds. When I put on these Raycon Everyday Earbuds, I don't just hear Drake, I become Drake. The dash is analog.
Looking like Santa Claus.
Fixing the Rari, my wrench went and slipped and now my hand is all wrapped in gauze. Raycon has dubbed these the everyday earbuds because people like me use them every day, and thanks to the battery built into this little charging case here, they'll last you all day with 8 hours of playtime on a single charge and over 30 hours in total. It's pretty incredible technology considering how small these are. And speaking of small, since they're so small and light, they're so comfortable when they're in your ears. I hardly notice and I wear them all the time
time. If you take a close look at my time lapses, you'll see me with my Raycons in as I'm working on my cars. And quite possibly their best feature is that they cost about half that of other boutique brands, and in my opinion sound just as good. You've got a really crisp sound with a little bit of extra bass. And when you visit buyraycon.com/samcrack or click the link in the description, you'll unlock an exclusive offer of up to 30% off your order at Raycon. Now I know that a set of everyday earbuds makes for an amazing gift because I've given them many times before as a gift. They're really excellent and I love mine and do use them literally every day. So I gotta give a huge thanks to Raycon for making me feel that much closer to my favorite artists and for also sponsoring this video.
You hear the problem with this car? I'd imagine that out in public, and I haven't really taken it too far out in public, it would get more attention than the purple Lamborghini, but for bad reasons. What happened is that somebody modified the exhaust system in this car, took the catalytic converters off, and they wanted a little bit more power out of it, which is cool. So they took it to a custom tuning shop, and they went to probably get a tune to give them 20, 30 more horsepower. And in the process, they said, well, you want some increased throttle response? And they said, yes. And then they said, how many cracks and pops do you want? And they checked the box for like all of the above. This thing will not stop cracking and popping. And could somebody reflash this and make it right? Very likely. We tried to at Eurocharged, but their computer that reads the software on here, since it's been modified, wasn't able to grab the software off of it. And so I've talked to a few people that say they can rectify it. I don't love the car for a number of reasons past that. I will tell you the gearbox is a really good gearbox. It's probably because it's a similar one they use in the Audi R8 and some of the manual Ferraris, or it's similar to ones they use in the manual Ferraris. The car sits low like a sports car. I like the seating arrangement. It's relatively comfortable, but besides that, it's kind of floatish. It's not really connected to the road, and we've got the stock suspension back on it. It's not real fast. It's just not really exciting. And maybe I'm very biased because I have a couple really amazing cars like the Lamborghini. I love this car, but this Aston Martin just doesn't do it for me. So it's definitely gonna be gotten rid of. And if I were to sell it, I would just sell it probably for a little bit more than what I have into it. We picked up for around 25. And I think somewhere around 35 is what I would ask for it. I don't have that much into it, I know, but I would tell you not to buy it because it's not a great car. The big thing is you could buy a much better sports car of the same vintage for a lot cheaper that is better in every single way as a sports car, and that is a C6 Corvette, and I just happen to have one over here, so let's go walk by the barn and check it out. This could be the best car I bought at the auction this year. 2007 C6 Corvette with pretty much every single option on it. I've got it turned around because, well, I don't even want to show you what's going on in the front. This is a great story, I think, and it was a tremendous value, and it drives so much better than the Aston Martin, and it's an automatic, and it's a convertible. It is literally like the least desirable C6 spec you can get, and I would choose to drive this all day, every day over the Aston Martin. No questions asked. So a video on it is coming very soon. I gotta give a price. I committed to giving a price, and Sage, you're not holding me to it. Jeez, I gotta remember this. I wouldn't sell this car for less than probably around $15,500. I shouldn't say less. I would sell it for $15,500. I'm not selling it right now. It's just too good of a car to have around. But I want to show you a car that is not mine, but it's a car that I helped someone buy at the auction. I think this is a very overlooked car, and I just want to tell you a little bit about it because anybody that's out there shopping like a new daily driver, nobody on the East Coast especially even knows that these things exist. This looks like just a regular BMW 530i, right? But it's not. It's a 530 electric. It has over here is a place where you can plug it into the wall. This is a plug-in hybrid. So while there's these supply chain issues and while the car prices are really inflated, this is a car that was heavily leased by a lot of people, especially over on the West Coast. And as they come off a lease every year, BMW Financial gets a truckload of them in, they send them to all the auctions, and then they just kind of take what they get from them. Earlier this year, I picked this car up for my brother for around $26,000 and change. This has almost every single option on it, a sticker of nearly $70,000, something you don't see a lot on these BMW 5 Series, even the electric models. A lot of them are like $50,000 to $60,000 stickers. This has self-driving on it, almost like a Tesla. I mean, it is an incredible spec, except for the color is not that great. But we didn't buy it for the color, we bought it for the deal. He's put almost 10,000 miles on it now, And the prices have gone up quite a bit, because when I bought it, gas was around probably $2 a gallon. Now it's well over $3 on average. So these are grossly overlooked. But when they do come off lease, so very soon you're going to see a bunch of 2019s come off lease, and they're going to trickle into BMW dealers. This is totally worth a look if you're going in to get, say, like a Honda Accord or a Toyota Camry, a car that would normally cost you higher 30s, lower 40s. If they had to sell, I'll put a price on it for them. Again, I'd say like $40,000, just because this would be really hard to replace for anything less than that. But they're not selling it. This is a car that is like ripping my heart out trying to tell you that I have to sell this. I love this thing. Jaguar XFR supercharged V8, 510 horsepower. I bought this at the epitome of low prices at the auction. It was around $7,000 and change. Got it all the way from Arizona. Shipping at that time was cheap too. I think a shipping bill from Arizona to Florida well over 2,000 miles was like $700. So this is a car that for $8 grand, you got something that cost $80 grand new. If I had to sell it, I don't want to sell it. And I just told you I paid around $8 grand all in for it. Oh boy, probably about 12, 5, 13 grand, which I think is a really good deal, because if you see these in like really nice, perfect condition online, they're well over 20. I don't want to sell it. Don't contact me to buy it, because I'd rather just watch it sit here and collect leaves, knowing that I own it, but that's a foolish decision. And that's why every year, I probably end up selling anywhere between 8 to 12 cars. It's just part of the cycle. A car that won't be going anywhere anytime soon, because it's become a permanent fixture to this barn. You can guess what's under here. It's the green Ferrari 360. Do you need to see it any more than you have already recently? This car is in the best running shape we've ever had it in. And the last time I took it out, the darn alternator light came up on the dashboard. How in the heck that happened, I don't have a clue, because the alternator seems to be working. When you do a volt test on the battery, when you turn the car on, volts jump. Everything looks to be operating normal. I got to get it up in the air, check the alternator wires, and it's possible that maybe the alternator is just a little weaker than it should be, causing that light to come on. And if that's the case, a new alternator for this car runs about $800 to $900 from Ferrari. It looks to be like a $99 alternator from the auto parts store, but it's not. So I've heard that people rebuild alternators. If you have any more information about that, I'd love to hear from you in the comments, or my email's down in the description. But Ferrari 360 is not going anywhere. If I had to put a price on it, I would probably ask something like $80,000. I'm gonna tell you why $80,000. All these prices are unreasonable, specifically so I don't sell them. Again, so much of my life is in this car, I don't want to sell it. But besides the emotional attachment, this is a last model year with a little bit over 20,000 miles. There's something to be said about that. Any 99 Ferrari 360 could be had easily for $75, $80. That's in decent working shape. This one is finally in decent working shape. It's got a branded title, which definitely devalues it. It's probably realistically only worth about 60 to 65. But again, just with the amount of work we put in it, I wouldn't take anywhere less than 80, and you wouldn't want to buy it from that, so don't write me about it. All right, we're gonna go quick with the couple Audis. B8 S4. This one's really nice. This is all sorted. It's got a lot of money worth of mods in it, and it probably is the most fuel efficient car that I currently have. And it's got like 500 horsepower. Amazing IE trans tune, engine tune, pulley upgrades. I mean, that is a really decked out car. I would probably sell it for like 16 grand, I would say. This one, I really wanted to work with IE on again, but I had told you the whole entire story. If you saw it in my Audi video, it's got camshaft, crankshaft correlation codes. This one, I would fire sale for 10 grand or so. I know that sounds crazy, but if you buy $1,000 worth of parts and you're capable enough to work on a car, this is actually a really, really nice car, and it's worth quite a bit more fixed. This one is one that I will not get rid of. I feel terrible even showing it to you in this condition. We work on this car on and off. You wouldn't believe it. Sage, have we worked on this car?
We have.
We have, okay. I've talked with a couple other guys about maybe collaborating and really doing this car up nice. But the main reason I like this car is the guy that gave it to me, Scott Bennett, the nicest guy in the world, who went on to give another car to my friend Alex, who gave it away to a person in need. Scott's doing great in life. Last I talked to him, the more you give, the more you receive. What do they say? Too much?
The more you give it.
To whom?
Yeah.
To what is given, the more is expected. I forget the saying, or I forget the saying, Scott is doing very well and it is because karma is on his side. It's because he does nice stuff. And well, he gave me a BMW. That one day will not be my car, but we've got to make it like really, really right for the person that ends up with it. And we'll talk more about that probably next year. The one car I really want to show you out here, that one over there. That is one that I've talked about loosely. I've shown it a couple times. It is an imported Toyota Soarer right-hand drive. It's not a Lexus SC 300 or 400. It's got a twin turbo, 1JZ, whatever they call it. The best part of it is the price. I paid well under $2,000, not including the shipping. The shipping costs about the same price as the car. I think I paid like 1,300 bucks for it. I think the shipping was like 1,100 bucks or something like that. This car has to be worth 10 grand just sitting here. I know it looks like I'm doing a really good job taking care of it with all the leaves and stuff like that, but seriously, this car, which I have worked on a little bit and then put off and then worked on a little bit, has increased in value on a percentage basis probably much more than any of the other ones out here. But the only way it's worth what I'm telling you it's worth is if it turns over. It's a Toyota. We know it's going to turn over, so I brought a jump pack out here. I want to see if it will start up. So will it start? Sage, is it going to start?
It's going to start. It's Toyota.
It's a Toyota, right? We're going to prime it a few times, but it will be good to start it up. And man, the tires are even flat. I really got to get my stuff together, man. This is too nice of a car to let sit out here. I mean, the funny thing is how well the interiors in these cars hold up too. But let's see what we got. I daily drove this car for probably about 10 days after buying it. I can't stand it. It's not my thing. It has nothing to do with it being right-hand drive. I really like the way the Nissan Figaro drove actually real fast for its age, but I don't like the seating arrangement. It's kind of like small. Oh look, it's missing the battery too. Well, we're gonna still see if it starts. Let's see. All right, it's sending power to the car. Let's see what happens. I'm gonna be a little careful with this because we haven't started in a while. Oh, you hear that? Come on, Toyota. The ignition's locked. I mean, but it's making that classic noise. Come on, foot. Why is the ignition locked? Oh, there goes the battery.
Was the steering wheel locked up?
Could be.
Yeah.
But I feel like these cars also have... All right, that's no good. We tried a couple times, it did not start. And that could simply be because, well, it probably needs a battery in it. I think it might be something to do with the anti-theft device. But this is a really cool, like, futuristic car. Again, I don't love the car. But for the price I paid for it, I do love it. And what's amazing, look at this sort of stuff. Like, it's tough to see. But you see that headliner is just, like, in perfect condition. You just see, like, how well all the materials hold up. And they're all nice, high quality. Like, this is a really, really, really nice example car. And when you buy cars from a Japanese auto auction, they can't have substantial damage. They have to run, they have to drive on and off the boat that they come on. They can't have major oil leaks because it's like a pollution issue. So when you buy these cars, some of them could be really cheap and they could be bargains, like this one right here. Let me know what you want to see done with the Toyota Soarer in the comments, starting with getting it running and working good again. But I don't think that's going to be much of an issue. But we got to do it soon. No, when are we going to get on this one, Sage?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow. Perfect answer. That's why I got you, man.
So how much would you sell it for, Sam?
Oh, I forgot, man. Looking these cars up now, they sell for over $10,000. This one, again, is all original. I think it's got under 100,000 miles, something like 120, 130,000 kilometers. It's original down to the wheels and tires, which is pretty rare. I probably wouldn't sell this for, I'm saying less than. I would sell it for 15 grand. What I plan to do with it is just clean it up and really keep it pretty original. Maybe change just the wheels and tires, but keep the drivetrain really original. And a lot of people kind of mess with these things, especially when they have manual transmissions, because they're capable of making a lot of power. But it's pretty fast considering it's a 1991 or 1992. So yeah, there's your price. 15,000. I say 15, 16,000.
15,000.
15,000. I won't go back on the 15. That's what I would sell for. It's just too nice and too unique of a car. That being said, I don't love the car. Do I sound crazy? You know what happens is when you have like 1 week a BMW X6M and then the next week you get into like your Audi R8, which we should talk about now. You're just spoiled because these modern cars are so nice. This does feel a little dated when you drive it, but it also goes to show you how good Japanese cars are, because it's worked every single time I've driven it. The Audi R8, a car that I have, a car I will never sell, and if I had to sell it, it's a gated manual. Those cars have gone up substantially in value. I'd ask $85,000 for it. Nobody would pay that, so I don't have to worry about anybody writing me on that. The C63 SAMG, another car that is always being asked about in the comment section. It's a car that I bought, and I bought it kind of impulsively. I saw it, I thought it was really cool. I expected it to be pretty modded up. It came very modded up, and I thought I would be selling it right after. I love the car. It's the most modern car and nice car I own as far as technology and the way it drives, and it is just as fast as any of the exotic cars I've shown you today. And again, knock on wood, they're known to be pretty reliable. If I had to sell that car, I would sell it for $54,400. I think it's fair considering the mods, the market, and the next gen cars will not be V8s. I think they said they're going to be 4 cylinders with electric motors, the new AMGs. So that should kind of stabilize the price of mine. And just, again, a really nice example, like perfect spec. Love the car. Now, we also got to talk about the cars that I sold, because there's a handful of them that you haven't seen around here, and that's because I don't have them anymore. It's very close to most of the cars. There's probably a couple I'm forgetting. Well, there is one right over there. Look, Ford F-250 Super Duty, the best vehicle I own. I wouldn't sell it for anything less than 35 grand, just because right now it's really tough to replace pickup trucks, and that one's got relatively low miles. And how could I forget back there, the pizza car, still have it. I wouldn't take anything less than $2 million for that. Those are all the cars I have. At least I think. There's probably 1 or 2 stragglers somewhere, but we're definitely getting rid of this. And talking about cars we got to get rid of, let's talk about the most notable sales I've had this year, starting with BMW i8. I love the car. I love the way it drove, and I hardly ever filled it up, because you could drive it in EV mode and you could get like 12, 13 miles on straight battery power. Car was great, except it became very apparent very quickly, the few months that I did drive it, that it is not going to hold up well in the long term. I don't think it will hold up mechanically well, physically well, and the resale value, even though they bumped up along with everything else in this kind of crazy car frenzy that's going on, in the long term, just because mechanically they are nightmares, is not going to hold up well. The repairs are very expensive on them, and the batteries, when they go out, you're looking at a 5-figure replacement cost. And I talked with somebody that had their battery go out recently, and a sensor went out on it while I was using it, and I went to go replace it. It was several $100s. It wasn't easy to get to, and it was very apparent that it wasn't DIY friendly. I should have figured that out from the whole entire time when we dropped the engine to do a head gasket. Anyway, BMW i8 sold. The BMW M3, a lot of people ask me about. That's a car I kind of regret selling, because sold it very cheap. It's a 6-speed manual coupe M3, the most desirable spec you can have. It did have a rebuild title, but we redid all the problematic parts on that car. And the person that I sold it to, I've seen it floating around online for sale for more than double that they paid me for it. So come on, dude. You're supposed to enjoy the car. What was the deal? You're gonna... Anyway, all right. And then what else I get rid of? A lot of people ask about the Focus RS still. That was done, sold it. And as far as I understand, the person that bought it from me, because I know them, they wrecked it right after they bought it from me, after it was all put back together. So that's pretty much everything that's in the current inventory, minus a couple other ones we hid in various places, because, well, don't want to show it to you quite yet. We got some really exciting supercars coming very soon. I can't wait to share them with you. And if you can't wait to see them, make sure you hit that like button. Every time I do one of these videos, even though I might not love the Aston Martin, and I sound like a grumpy old man, it's surreal that it's parked next to the Lamborghini, that's parked next to the V12, Ferrari 612. You guys make this possible, so I can't thank each and every one of you enough. Now, if you watch this video closely and you heard all the prices that I put on every single car, I want to hear from you in the comments. What would you buy out of all of them? You should pick the Ford F-250, because it's just amazing. And again, it's tough to buy a truck right now. But let me know, and let me know what you want to see more of on the channel, because when they stay around, you know, they got to pay the bills. It's kind of like the hens back there. They give me eggs, they stay around. But somehow that rooster stays around. I don't get how he's made it this long. Anyway, if you want to see the new supercar projects before anything goes live here on YouTube, make sure you follow me right here on Instagram, or just click the link down in the description, guys. I can't, again, thank each and every one of you enough for making all of this possible and for taking the time to watch this video. I'll catch you very soon.